Welcome to the Vault Excel. Hope you all are well. Thank you for joining me. Hope you're having a wonderful weekend. I've got a movie suggestion for this weekend. It's now playing at a theater near you. The Woman in the Yard. Someone suggested it about a week ago, so I decided to have it as the weekend suggestion. Well, there's a lot stirring on the wire pertaining to this young girl who's brutally assaulted and murdered by her alleged father. The mother has done another interview on YouTube saying that Darnell is the father, Keimani Latig. I have so many questions. Naturally, don't know if I'll ever get the answers to this case, but I'm wondering about the grandmother because there are, speculations, rumors from the biological mother that perhaps Dorothy is involved. There are people questioning why there hasn't been a service. Allegedly, money was donated to a funeral home, not a GoFundMe, which I agree, no one should donate any money to a GoFundMe, and no one needs to set up a GoFundMe for the child. For what reason? Because it doesn't look like she had a stable environment or family members, so nobody needs to be getting any money pertaining to this kid. So is Miss Dorothy involved? Because the mother believes there's discrepancies in her account of events when she got home. There's, how can I put this? Her version about the underwear and the glasses are a little bit different than what was reported. So I don't know, really what's the truth to where the underwear were. The news reported that they were by the couch, pajamas in the dining room, but the mother has spoken on YouTube and it's kind of like switched around, and also mentioning of her glasses. She couldn't see without the glasses. The fact that allegedly the grandmother knew that she was at that house, so how would she know? Is it because perhaps they already put out a report that she was missing, so when a body was found, she naturally assumed it was her? I don't know. But the daughter also says she has a connection to that house. Her mother, Dorothy, I can't remember how she worded it because I barely listened to it last night, because I get kind of frustrated when I listen to a bunch of nonsense from people who I don't know if I can believe anything that they're saying. And that's one thing a person said in the comment section. Well, I don't know to believe the mother, and I don't believe that Darnell's the father. Now, I'm not here to say that he's not the father of the child. The woman said that's her baby daddy. I'm not getting ready to argue with Tia about who she slept with. If she says he's the father, she said in a recent live stream that he is the father. Now leave it at that. But what does the grandmother know? Because it appears that this child was abused, and I won't doubt that she probably felt some type of way because had been hopping from house to house. And the one thing people don't understand about foster care or moving around with different places in life as a child, you will become disgusted, okay? Because you're dealing with different attitudes, different temperaments. That's expected. So that wouldn't shock me if indeed she had a behavioral problem. I'm not here to say that she did, because you got to remember, everything we're hearing is from these people, and I don't know these people from a can of paint. But the one thing I feel about all of these people, they're ratchet. They're ratchet. I mean, just lying in my bed late morning, Saturday morning, hearing all this he said, she said about who believes this and who said this. That's the only thing came to my mind was just, these people are just ratchet. Hello, Don. They're just ratchet. And you see this a lot with these type of cases of missing children, abused children. They come from ratchet people. We learned that the mother was not close to Dorothy. They didn't have a good relationship. They were in foster care, she and her siblings. So you see, here's a pattern. I won't doubt that she was abusive to her kids. Then you got to ask, why did Miss Dorothy not have custody of her said children? Then this daughter, Tiara, she goes to have a baby, and she says she lost custody because her adoptive mother or foster mother didn't want Miss Dorothy around the baby, around Keimani, which don't make no sense to me. If you're a grown up with a kid, what does this lady have to say? Go tell DHS, oh what, Miss Dorothy's a bad person. She's got her around this lady that's never been a mother to her. How would they just go take a whole kid? Then she said they accuse her of not coming back to the hospital to feed the baby. Just a bunch of nonsense. I was just listening to this late morning, and I was just thinking to myself, hello, dear. I don't know what to believe. And it's not to be rude. It's not to say that DHS workers can't make a mistake, because we have seen that they have. But I'm just not jumping on the bandwagon pertaining to Tiara. You know, every time she does a live stream with somebody, you hear children crying in the background, babies crying. So I'm assuming she has other children. I don't know. It's off-putting to me, because I think, you need a quiet background. Like, for instance, I live here in an apartment. I don't have control over the neighbors wanting to holler, scream, dogs barking, slamming doors, but it's still rude for people listening. I don't have a headset at the moment, because the one I had, it would buzz and it would, have a static sound in the live stream. So I had to stop using it. And I'm not going to go around here buying up $1,000 worth of headsets to see which one's going to work. The thing is, people need to be quiet in the background, but that's life when you're living around other people. People make noise. So you're going on a live stream from one person to the next, and there's just all this talking and kids crying and talking. It's not to be rude to throw, it's off-putting to me. A person needs to get in a quiet space to do a live stream. That's just me personally. If you're going to get on a live stream, put your dog up, go in another room, go outside, go on the patio, go do something, go sit in your car. Tell somebody, hey, watch my kid for 15, 20 minutes. I'm going to do this live stream, whatever, whoever you are talking. That way people can hear you clearly and get an understanding of what you're saying. I don't know what to think, but right now I'm seeing a pattern of neglect from Dorothy and her own children. Tiara has this version of DHS was called on her by her adoptive mother, whomever, because she wanted to show the baby to Dorothy, which sounds like a cock-a-bull to me. And I'm not trying to be mean, but I don't know if I believe that version or not. And as someone else was saying about Dorothy's interview, it's all about me, 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 me. Then every time you look at her in these interviews, she's twitching her head like she's about ready to pop off, like her head's about to pop off her neck, like she's angry. Bitch, what are you angry about? You're not the one dead. You're not the one that was sexually assaulted. You're not the one that was stuck in the neck. Did you all read the article describing this girl's death? Because I had to reread it today. Or yesterday, rather, because it's a new day now. I had to reread it. Her cause of death is from neck injuries. So that means Darnell stuck something in her neck and killed her. That sounds so vicious. That's like hate. To stab someone in their neck, your own child, it's bad enough you're having sex with her. We don't know how long. When did it start? Did she fight back? Is this the motive for the murder? But it's vicious. Underwear by a couch, we're assuming. What they're telling us is the truth. She was SA'd. So you're raping a kid, that's your own. And what, she fought back? She probably did. That's why she's dead. Probably started touching her, groping her. No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that no more. Because if you look at one of her pictures where she has the black shirt on, like a school picture, she looks rather, stocky in her build. She's got strong shoulders, strong neckline. She appeared that she's going to be a tall girl. And I thought about something that Dorothy said in the interview. She didn't like boys. She was a virgin. See, that didn't sound right to me. What the hell are you talking about? That's not even anything to say when you know what has happened to your grandchild. She was stuck in the neck, stabbed in the neck. Maybe that's where the decapitation of her neck, of her head was coming off her neck. I'm not sure. But hands cut off, essayed. One version I heard, I don't know if it's the truth. They said something about her face being disfigured, but I didn't see that in a legitimate article. So, don't quote me on that. Because, people will make up stuff. But he cut her hands off so nobody could identify her. Everybody knows that when you cut off limbs, It's so the person can't be identified. So he wanted to make sure nobody was going to identify her. But he is stupid because the grandmother reported her missing. So they're going to, ask the person, hey, come down, check out this body we have, remains. But this is what happens when you're dumb. You're dumb as a bag of rocks. So I don't know if this was pre-planned, him going over there. And then another thing, why did she let him in? Let's say he's been essaying her. She don't like it. Why let him in? See, a lot of questions come to mind after the fact, because you don't remember everything when you're listening to a case and the findings. So I like to role play, you understand? But see, role playing comes with perception. I'm not her. I wasn't her. So I don't know her mindset. I don't know this man's mindset. What I do know of him, he's diabolical. But I don't know what really went on, you know what I'm saying, up until the day she was unalived and then carried over to that abandoned house. But one young lady who has a YouTube channel, she had some very good information to his past, which I'm sure anybody can find the information. I don't go looking because I didn't really have any intention of covering this case, but it's been on my mind, so I just decided to go ahead and go live and talk about it. He has an extensive criminal background where he's only getting like less than 6 months in jail because obviously he has portrayed himself as having a mental problem. But he started a fire many moons ago. And see, that shows pattern right there. And you see a lot of this with serial killers, rapists, and sadists. They usually have been molested. They have also molested others. And they also have stolen. They also have dabbled with lighters and matches. Okay? So we learned that he set a building on fire. He and another guy tried to set a building on fire. Don't you find it interesting? That's in his criminal history when he got arrested, disorderly conduct. And you fast forward now, many years later, boom, boom, boom. The daughter is found in a burning building on the second floor. And Mr. Darnell has a criminal record pertaining to arson. Oh boy, you're going to hope they don't throw that in court. The state brings that up. Oh yeah, he likes setting things on fire. But I'm sure if you go back in his history, his mother, father, or whomever raised him, if the state, defense, or whomever talks to them, they'll probably tell you, oh yeah, he used to play with matches all the time. Throws a tantrum, gets mad, he sets stuff on fire. I'm sure he did that as a young person because in order to set a fire at 19, you've done it before. He has set things on fire before. So we have a criminal history, obviously some mental issues with him, some crazy Facebook posts where people said he was talking erratic and talking crazy about not wanting to live and doing this and trying to change his life and do right. And what's scary about listening to that is the fact that we know what he allegedly did to this girl, this child of his. So when you go back and listen to the Facebook posts of him, me against the world, woe is me, you try to put the two together like, who is this person? You're crying on Facebook for attention about your life and your emotions and your feelings. You're trying to live right, do right, but yet you're steady getting in trouble every few years. You're not getting a lot of time in jail or prison. You're getting freed, walking free to only go commit another crime. Allegedly, you hung one girlfriend over a balcony, domestic abuse. She didn't want to testify, but the state had enough evidence to try the case on their own. Then we got this last girlfriend who did the right thing, turned you in. Somebody looked out the window and saw you putting evidence in the stairs, beneath the stair landing, muddy boots, a car mat. And she said you came back. So that was weird. She said you came back. Items were gone. She called the police. But what's weird about that, she says, oh, then I left with my kid because I didn't want anything to happen to me. But I thought, well, if he came back and checked, he could have hurt you. So that was kind of strange. When did he come back? He just went upstairs and looked, but didn't let her know he realized they were gone. I'm surprised he didn't confront her. Hey, where's my stuff? Where are those boots? Where's that mat? That'd been one hell of a altercation or confrontation, don't you think? And then the fact she has a daughter with him. And in that interview, she says, "Oh, we love her." Talking about Keimani. Yeah. Well, she's gone now because of your nasty ass boyfriend that you didn't know was a pedophile. So now I have to ask, did he also sexually assault their daughter? Stay woke, everybody. And has he been sexually assaulting other children? Is he a dual offender? You know, some people like boys and girls. Has he been sexually assaulted as a child? Because that's usually where it comes from. Monkey see, monkey do. But don't you see a pattern with everybody in the story? They're all fucked up. Let's keep it real. They're all fucked up. And had this girl continued to live around these people touching her, raping her, and jacked up ass grandmama, she probably would have went down the rabbit hole her damn self. Never told anybody. Hating to go home. Grandma beating you up. You're not getting along with her. Pretty girl. Grandma probably was jealous of her. I know some of you don't know about that. A woman being jealous of her own child. It's true. Oh, yeah. The biological mother said that too in the YouTube interview. That she believed her mother was jealous of her. Yes, there are some women who are jealous of their own children. I'm sure there's some men jealous of their boy children. Scary thought, isn't it? Kind of hard to even fathom. You're giving birth to someone and you're jealous of them. Why? Because they have nice attributes, pretty hair, pretty eyes, pretty skin, built nice, smart, intelligent, bright, good in sports, different things that you don't have, qualities you don't possess. Please, jealous of your own kid. That's dangerous. But the more I listened to these interviews, the more I became disgusted, and the more I said to myself, all these people are whack. Darnell's whack. Tiara, I don't know much about her, but I'm on the fence about her as well. I don't, she talks real proper when she talks, and I'm just not fascinated. That's just Queen. I'm not fascinated with Dorothy. Dorothy seems very high-strung. Sometimes she gets upset easily. You could tell in her, neck movements when they were interviewing her. She's all over the place with her head movement. And that's what's weird. Turn the sound off in the videos if you want to really understand where I'm coming from. Go back. Go back and watch the last interviews and turn the sound off. And just watch her. It's something to see. Just head all over her neck. And if you just walked up and turned the TV on with no sound, you'd say, "Woo, that black lady's mad about something." Exactly. The hell she mad about? She's walking around free. She ain't dead. So all that head movement and, you know what I'm saying? Like she's scolding somebody, telling them about themselves. And then if you listen closely and turn the volume on, you'll realize, oh, she's talking about a dead kid. Well, now. See, the attitude is because she's been put on the spot. People know her dirty secret that CPS has been in her business 2 times. And they're telling her how to scold a child. Allegedly telling her to hit her on the butt, not on the arms. It's all the same. What's the difference? Did you know you could brutally beat a person on their buttocks to where they can't sit down? Come on now. Oh, yeah, that's right. Hit them on the butt because nobody's going to look at their butt. Pull their pants down and look at their bottom. But, oh, I can pull your sleeve up, stomach up, look at your stomach, your back, your arms. Well, why stop there? If you're going to give a child a full exam, you have them disrobe so you can see what's going on. Maybe that needs to go on more often with these cases of abuse, physical abuse. You need to ask the child, take the child to a doctor and tell the doctor they need a full exam, if you get my drift. Everywhere. I think it's time that that's done, if it's not. Miss Dorothy, what do you know about this grandchild? Because some people say they don't like using grandmother. So that's why I put in the title, Miss Dorothy. First time I ever did a video in lowercase letters, because usually I put everything in all caps. I guess I was lazy. Miss Dorothy, what do you know about this child? What do you know about she and Darnell's dirty secret? Because let somebody on YouTube tell it, you're not a savory lady. You are a woman of the street, kept street company, had some stranger and some other woman or somebody living in your house. I thought that was bizarre. That you would take in street people in your house and have a girl child living there. But then I thought about something. Somebody that I once knew. And their life story came to mind. A black woman had a white man staying in her house that she met from a job or something, and he was sleeping in like a spare room on the floor, had a little pallet in there, and he was kind of like her little housekeeper slash babysitter. And the first thing I thought of was this story. I thought about this late this morning. I said, this is how crazy people are here in America and other places. We all have taken chances fooling with people we don't know anything about, okay? I think we're all flawed in that perspective, because a lot of people like to perpetrate themselves like they know people so well and they dated them a long time before they gave up the cookie, and that don't mean shit. You don't know anybody. You don't know anybody. The point is, you got this man that's staying in your house around your kids. You're working the second shift, whatever. So you need somebody to be at home with your kids, but your kids are wayward. One son got into some trouble, a robbery, blah, blah, blah. The point I'm trying to make is that I thought about that situation versus this one. You just let some random person come stay in your house with your kids. And you're out of sight, which means out of mind. You can't see from your work. So you don't know what's going on with this guy and your kids. Same thing with this case here. Dorothy bringing in strange street people in her house to stay, probably making it a rooming house so she can make some extra money. And you got a whole girl child living there as well. Does that make any sense? So see, there's a lot of little he said, she said coming out about Miss Dorothy and her ways. She looks like a street woman. I hate to be rude and nasty, but seeing is believing. All that old head, neck moving and all that on the news, pipe it down. The story's not about you. They're ratchet. That's what I said under one of the videos. These people are ratchet. That's why we have a dead kid. And if you look at all these stories that pertain to missing children, dead children, abused children, severely abused children, such as the grown man held hostage up in Connecticut, you go look in the belly of the beast, the houses are always nasty usually. The parents, guardians, they look a hot ass mess. CPS has always been called. Have you ever noticed that? With most cases of abuse and death, CPS has been called. CPS has made visits. But yet the child remained. And I want you to think about that. They had a community session this past week, where everybody can get together and voice their opinion pertaining to the death of this child, the murder of this child, and voice how they feel, how it's affecting them. First thing I said, I've shared to Facebook today. What's the point of that? Everybody getting together around a round table, expressing how disturbed they feel about the death of Keimani, when most of you don't even want to call the police when something bad happens because you don't want to be labeled a snitch. You don't want to be labeled a snitch, but you want to sit at a round table and express your feelings about a murdered 13-year-old. Help me understand. They want to bring forward a task force. Who's going to do that? Task force with the police department or a task force with DHS? See, DHS needs to clean their house. That's where the problem lies. You need qualified people who can address child abuse, neglect, know how to talk to children, ask appropriate questions. Everybody has got to work hand in hand. You've got to also have people who are going to do footwork, talk to neighbors, friends, associates, the school, the principal, teachers, guidance counselors, coaches. See, it's a stair step. Just walking in somebody's house and they have nice furniture and food in the refrigerator, what does that mean? And that's the bullshit we're hearing about the guy up in Connecticut, victim A. Oh, there was food in the house. Well, he only weighed 69 pounds. So he wasn't getting the food that Mrs. Sullivan was eating. She's feeding herself. She wasn't feeding him. And then we saw how she was living. She was living in a hoarder house. That fire didn't damage that entire house. That damage was already there. Tubs and crates and stuff piled up that didn't have nothing to do with the fire. See, there's always a pattern with a lot of these cases of children being abused, elderly, disabled adults. It's always something visible that everybody just plays blind. It's like Miss Sullivan sitting in a car for an hour talking to her daughter and son-in-law when he's in an ambulance and going to a hospital, and she didn't even have the respect enough to go check on him at the fucking hospital. Why are you in a car an hour somewhere else? You understand what I'm saying? Why? For what? Why aren't you at the hospital? Because you knew you didn't want to take him back from that hospital, and you knew you were too scared to go because you knew what the firemen and the police saw in your house, which was latch on the doors. Checkmate. Hell no, I ain't going to no hospital. They'll probably put handcuffs on me. And you see, it took a little while before they arrested her. They had to gather their evidence, talk to some people, do a little digging. So now we go over here to Toledo, Ohio, where a child was obviously abused by the grandmother, and the state allowed her to stay. As I said, they need to clean their house. They need to get a task force, investigators in the DHS office to investigate any crimes against children. SA, abuse, neglect. Somebody needs to go hit the pavement, knock on the doors, talk to the friends, associates, neighbors, sit and watch, just like you do when you're doing surveillance for a house or somebody selling drugs or some type of illegal activity. What do? You sit in the car, you watch. You tap phones, you do all type of things. Well, why not do it for children? Oh, they're not important. They're not important enough. That's what you're saying to the world. The children aren't important enough to even have investigators who walk the beat and investigate. Because obviously the social workers don't know what the fuck they're doing. So that means you need investigators to work with the Department of Human Services. Because just like what I've said before in previous videos a year or two ago, if you sat outside somebody's house, just like with that Harmony Montgomery story, you were seeing everything you need to know without even having to talk to anybody. All you have to do is just sit outside, watch the people coming and going out the house, watch the people cussing and fussing and arguing, watching them use the generator, don't got no damn lights on in the house. You see all that. You can see all that. Nobody had to tell you that. Be no he said, she said. That's another case of blatant child abuse, neglect. People watching her get abused by the father in the house. Nobody said nothing. But we're supposed to believe the girlfriend, wife or whatever, she wasn't abusing the daughter? Come on now. And somebody else could have been abusing her too. Who's going to tell it? Oh, yeah, I get a lick in every now and again. And she died a horrific death too. Miss Dorothy, do you have some involvement in this crime against your granddaughter, Keimani? Were you at the house? Did you know that she was being essayed by Darnell? Did she ever tell you that she was being essayed by him? Didn't want to be around him? Didn't want to see him? Did you ever notice any weird, odd behavior? And you just turned a blind eye instead? Most people do. Because when you see a child don't want to interact, don't want to talk, they tell you they don't want to go anywhere with the parent, they don't want to be bothered, they don't want them to come over, they don't want to get picked up. You should read between the lines. Okay, why? Why not? And if they act like they don't want to tell you, then you should know there's something probably hanky-panky going on. Because you can't tell somebody, oh, I don't want to go with him, I don't want to go with her, and then you say, well, why not? And then they say, well, I don't want to talk about it. There's your red flag right there. But she wasn't important enough. That's what this story is about. She's like all these other children. Just a check. And in fact, this woman's talking about she's been fighting for her daughter for years. How can you be fighting for years? She's been gone since she was an infant. Oh, yeah, that was revealed. Keimani's been gone since she was an infant. So how could you been fighting 13 years? I don't believe that. That don't even make any sense. You moved to Cleveland to set up a life so you could get her back. So I have to ask that question. When did you move to Cleveland? How many kids do you have? How many other kids do you have? Where are those fathers? Are they in the lives of the children? Have you had any CPS reports since you've been in Cleveland or any other addresses with your children? How many children do you have? What are the ages of those children? So you have to ask all those questions. Because you do have to do the math. The girl was 13, and we got a mother telling the world, oh, I've been trying to get her for years. Okay, but then why didn't you have her? Why didn't you ever get her? Make it make sense. And if it wasn't a DHS intervention of custody, I'm confused. And all this shifting the little girl around. Grandma or godmother had her, then the godmother got rid of her and sent her over to the grandmama. Help me understand how all that was working out, because I'm confused. But you've been trying to get her back. 13 years. Tierra, I'm going to tell you something. Coming from a 54-year-old woman. I'm a lot of things. Stupid, I'm not. All you had to do was go to the court and petition for your child. So help me understand why you didn't have custody of her. I'm confused. 13-year-old girl, you haven't had her since birth? Because we already know if it was the state that took her from you, they're not going to wrangle with you for 13 years pertaining to custody. No way in hell. No way in hell. So what is the real reason you did not have custody of your child? You gave up, you threw in the towel, you said, fuck it, nobody want to give her to me. Nobody wants to give me my baby back. If you sign a legal document. Sorry about that. Did you sign a legal document with any of these women? I'm confused. Because like I said, I'm very leery when it comes to all this he said, she said stuff. I just am. Because you can't logically explain 13 years to me. Doesn't make any sense. The link is in the chat if you'd like to come on the panel. Join the queen. Give your opinion. You are welcome. You are more than welcome. That's my commentary. I want to know what the grandmother knows, everybody. Excuse me. Doing a little rearranging. I think Miss Dorothy might know something. Because her attitude is a bit off to me. in those news interviews. She seems too uptight, too wound up for somebody who just lost their granddaughter in such a horrific way. And everything seems really more negatively portrayed about the child. Even the comments about she only hung around people that she knew, and she, I can't remember how she worded it. Something was off with that. She only hung around the people that she knew, and she was good to them. This is something that just don't make no sense. No sense. Had to regroup everybody. Something don't sound right to me. Don't sound right at all. So give me your opinion. Do you think Dorothy knows something? Do you think she's involved in the murder of this young child? Did she know about the essay between she and Darnell? Do you believe this biological mother, the version she has been giving to YouTube, her rendering of her life and her dealings with the mother, she and the mother don't have a good relationship? Why not? What was the reason for Dorothy not raising her? Hello, Joy. Joy says she knows something. Well, she may be. I think the daughter is insinuating that she does know something. She said something about discrepancies in, what she found at the house when she came home. So can they prove that she actually went to work? Number one, Dorothy. What is her knowledge of this child and this man having sexual relations, which is by law called rape? Did she know he was doing devious deeds with this child? And also you have to ask the ultimate question as well. Who else has he sexually assaulted? Was he also sexually assaulted? Turned him in. And she has to be thinking about that. Damn, he done did all this to this girl, and I got another child here. Because you got to remember, he was staying with her and the baby. God knows who else. So while your back is turned, he's fondling your kid and doing nasty stuff to your girl child. Now imagine that. So I'm sure she's thinking about all of that. I had this filthy beast up in my house. And he's essaying a kid, then stuck her in her neck. Damn near took her head off, her neck, cut her hands off, and then took her to an abandoned building that we are hearing is connected to Miss Dorothy. Well, now, Dorothy's family, some type of way, because I kind of dozed off listening to that garbage this morning, because as I said, I don't really like digesting certain things, and I don't really like talking about cases pertaining to SA and kids. Just, it's not my cup of tea. That's why I jumped off that solo case months back. So that's just too much for me to digest. But obviously it's going on. It's been going on since the beginning of time. Men raping kids. A lot of people don't like talking about it because they just don't want to accept that people are this devious, but they are. There are people who desire children. There are men who desire little girls. Women who desire boys, I'll say. You're seeing more cases of women having sex with boys. More, less, school teacher type situation, but still it's a crime. I don't know what you could see in a child. What do you see in a child? Yeah, I guess I'm talking to the current pedophiles out here. What do you see in a child? Because I don't know what you can see in a kid. How could you be attracted to a child? Help me understand. All these people out here walking the earth and you want a kid. For what? It's sickening. The thought is sickening. This case is sickening. And you know what's worse? Is that there's only a matter of time. There'll be another Keimani. Another victim A in Connecticut. Do you see where I'm going? There's somebody right now going through the same thing these children are going through, and somebody has evidence and information, and they ain't told it. And you can't understand how you could have knowledge of somebody being sexually assaulted, abused, hidden, kidnapped, human trafficked, and you don't say nothing. It's just like that victim A in Connecticut. 32-year-old man, don't know where he is, praying he's safe. The fact this woman gets in her daughter's SUV with the husband, they had to have known that he was in that house living like that. And instead of them taking her to the hospital to check on him, they're sitting in some parking lot. Don't know how far away from the scene, but the police had been looking for her for an hour. So, by then, he was already at the hospital getting checked out or waiting to be checked out. The stepson. And she is sitting in a car with her daughter and son-in-law. Yeah, they're trying to hash what version they're going to give to the police about why that house was in disarray, why there are locks on the doors, why this grown-ass man is weighing 69, 68 pounds. That's a lot of explaining to do. Lucy, you got some explaining to do. Indeed. And yet she goes into court with this stupid-ass lawyer, and he's telling us some people ain't credible. Who ain't credible? Who are you speaking of? The victim? The victim, he's not credible? You want us to believe a 32-year-old man is starving himself? Staying cooped up in a house, never going anywhere, doing anything, rotten teeth allegedly? Oh, he lied to the paramedics about not taking a shower? Is that what you're going to tell us? Oh, he's mentally ill. He's disabled. He does this on purpose. He starves himself. He won't eat. He won't bathe. That's what you're going to say, aren't you? When it's time for her to go to court. That all this is deliberate. Victim A is doing this on purpose. That's going to be the defense, everybody, for Miss Kimberly Sullivan. You're going to use that, and you're also going to throw the dead man in, the father. It's all his fault. It's all his fault. But the dead man is gone. So, hey, you could free Willie. Shut your mouth. Well, your dad's dead now. I'm going to free you. Let you get some freedom. Sorry I rode the ride holding you hostage in this house, using you. Come on now. The man's only been dead a year, Mr. Defense Attorney. So you're going to have to do a little bit better than that. Now, what will Darnell's defense be? He survives his injuries. He gets out that hospital bed, gets put into a jail jumpsuit, goes to court. What is he going to say to the judge? Not guilty. As Miss Kimberly Sullivan, she has pled in court not guilty as well. Is that what you're going to do, Darnell? You're going to say, I didn't do anything. I didn't hurt her. You got it all wrong. That stuff I hid under the stairs, I just, I'm crazy. I got something wrong with me. Yeah, you might have a little something wrong with you, but you know right from wrong. You know you're not supposed to be penetrating a child, your own child, any child. You hid evidence under the stairs, so that means you know right from wrong. So you're not going to go back in the book of life and try to bring up old shit that happened to you, and that's why you've been out here raping kids. Come on now. That ain't going to fly. But as you see, when they go to court, they will put on, will they not? Wasn't me. I didn't do it. I would never rape my kid. I love my daughter. Yeah, a little too much. Bad joke, sorry. You don't even know what the fuck love is. Because I got a funny feeling we're going to hear terrible things about your mom and daddy. That's what I'm waiting to hear now. Who is Darnell Jones? Where did he come from? Who's his mom and dad? How did they treat him? Did they raise him? Did he finish high school? Has he ever worked a job? I don't think so. That's why the girlfriend knew something wasn't right. He hadn't worked in a while to have muddy boots. So she got a lifeless motherfucker laid up in her house with her daughter, and he's a child molester. Did I get that correct? But I commend you for telling the truth, ma'am. Thank you. I'm glad you're not aiding him. I pray you don't have any contact with him. You don't call him. You don't let him call you. You don't put no money on the books because it ain't going to look good. Because you know 9 times out of 10, he's been messing with your child. So somebody needs to be taking your child to the doctor and getting her private parts checked out. And oh, baby, you better pray like hell. Ain't nothing wrong with your baby girl downtown. Because you're going to have some explaining to do. Because the first thing the doctor's going to say, ain't no way the mama shouldn't have known about this. If you all get my drift. Hello, Penton. Scary story here. Keimani was failed. That's been proven. She's been failed by her parents, her own damn parents, grandmother, others, the DHS, Ohio, moved around school to school. That's a red flag. Everybody should know that, just like the Connecticut story. Moved around, taken out of school, poof, voila, disappeared. Nobody says nothing. Somebody tried. That principal, he tried. School teacher on the news crying about Keimani. And now we're talking about a dead person. And sadly, we'll be talking about another dead child. It's only a matter of time. And that's what's even more scary. It says somebody else is being abused out here as I speak. Somebody else is sexually abusing a child, physically abusing a child, mentally abusing a child, human trafficking a child, children. Somebody's child right now is being violated. Some child out here is unhappy, wishing death upon their own self, wanting a way out, but don't know how to speak, don't know how to talk, don't know how to tell somebody, hey, somebody's mistreating me. Please, children, say something. Don't live like this. Don't be afraid to speak up. Go to the nearest police department and tell them, I'm being touched, I'm being beat up, I'm being hurt. Record it. Record it. Just record it. Because it seems like that's the only way somebody's going to believe you. You got it on video. Because your word ain't worth shit now, is it? What a case. Well, we have one less butterfly in the world, sadly. This is a horrific tale. And it's hard to understand how it came to be. Nobody knew anything about this kid. Help me understand. People are always making calls to DHS and nobody listens. Nobody cares. DHS just says, oh, we went out, we didn't see anything. Oh, we told her how to discipline the child. They all right. Don't worry about it. Well, she's dead now. What excuse you got now? And that's the one thing you don't ever hear about either. The reprimand of the workers that work the cases of these abused and dead kids. What do you all do with these social workers? You keep them on, move them around? You all got to stop this. You all don't ever want to stand account. You definitely never going to pay out to a parent that lost custody and then their kid ended up dead in another home, adoptive home, foster care. Because the first thing you're going to say is, well, we've got records to show you weren't any better. You were abusive as well. That's why you don't have your kid. And to some degree, the state is right. I'm not going to pay you money just because you were an unfit parent and then your kid went to another unfit house and died. Why should I pay you? Because if you were doing right, we would have never been able to intervene in the first place. Lord have mercy. I want to see what I can find. Welcome to the Vault Excel, everybody. Please check out my shorts. I just uploaded 10 or more shorts in the YouTube queue for your entertainment. Now, this Shanitra girl, she's been uploading content to YouTube. She's got a video done 9 hours ago. It says, Mom says grandma involved and godmother let her on steps. I don't know what that means. Understand. I was trying to find something. They don't really have any updates. Just a lot of people making videos on he said, she said stuff. So I have to be careful playing other people's content. One second, everybody. I'm trying to find this video I was listening to this morning. It's pretty long. See if I can play a little bit of it. If not, I'll have to blank it out. Let's see. Hold on, everybody.
I was originally living in Cleveland, and I called my mom because I'm like, hey, you told me once that I was supposed to have been aborted, but you chose to give me life anyways. And I told her, like, I want to come up there and I want to allow you to see your granddaughter.
This is courtesy of Black CEO Media 2.0, if you're curious. I'm not going to try to play too much of it for copyright reasons.
Reborn as a gift to you, and she brought me up there, and it wasn't just her. My adoptive mom not wanting me or my child in the presence of my biological mother called Children's Services, and because she didn't know my mother, threw me under the bus. But my mother did not aid in that at all. She ran along with it and threw even more allegations on me. And they took my daughter from the hospital from me. They told me that if I came back up to the hospital, my daughter would not be there. And that if I showed up there, they would charge me with criminal trespassing. And so I didn't go back. And then we had what's called a staff meeting a couple days later at Lucas County Children's Services. And they told me that they were charging me with neglect because I didn't return to the hospital to feed my child.
Wow. So
they tricked me.
So, but okay. And so I'm getting like, hey. So basically, Dorothy is. So basically, she was holding. Because I'm trying to think, like, well, damn. Okay, after that, okay. Did y'all get that right there? That way, did y'all in the chat get what Tiara said before I go to the next thing? Because at the end of the day, Tiara and Dorothy it wasn't a good relationship from what I'm hearing from the private conversations that I had with Tiara. And did y'all get it? Okay, Melissa says she got it because I know that was one question. Thanks, Melissa and Maurice. Real quick, Jazz, do you want to come in on something real quick before I go further? Is it something you might want to
Yeah. So to piggyback off what you said, I know a lot of people that have been tuning into this are from different states. In Ohio, as sad as it is, in Ohio, all it takes is one allegation for Children's Services to step in. The sad part about that is they go after the parents that are active in their kids' lives, the parents that are willing to take care of their children. And they also leave the children who are being abused. They overlook those cases. It's backwards in Ohio. And it's very sad to have this going on. For people to say, oh, it's not that easy. It is. And it happens more often than people realize.
All right, brief intermission, everybody. So that's the mother speaking, and now her friend speaking, that it doesn't take much to get your child removed from your care. So do you believe this version that she was just trying to show her child to Dorothy, Keimani, when she was an infant, and the adoptive mother got angry and called social services on her? I don't know. I really don't know. Oh my God. What's the truth?
Wow. Okay. And I got Ruth Abel say grandmother's just pure evil. That's what I get out of this case when I look at and think about the Dorothy lady. I can't call her the grandmother, but when I think about these alleged text messages that Dorothy was putting out during this process, you got people, well, why wasn't Tiara? Okay. How often did you see Keimani? Okay, due to the fact, let's say once Dorothy got her, how often did she let you see your child? Because what I see is that she was trying to use her as like a bargaining chip, like hold her over your head. And a lot of people saying, I would have did this, I would have did that, did this. And from what what we spoke a little bit is, You wanted to do everything legally to try to get your baby back.
So yeah, and I'm not. I have some experience, but I don't have a lot of experience when it comes to law. I did 4 years of pre-law, but if you don't finish those last 8 years, it's a lot of information and a lot of insight that you do miss. So there's a lot of things that I did not know how to do legally. There's a lot of legal jargon that I never picked up on. And there's a lot of rights that I was not made aware of that I had. So I've always tried to go the legal route when it comes to my child. I've always wanted my child. When they took my child from me, because it was about a week before they had that initial staff meeting, I cried every single day, all day. I could not watch a diaper commercial. I could not watch an infant formula commercial. I could not go outside without me bawling my eyes out, because someone at some point throughout every day was like, "Where's your baby at? I thought you were pregnant." And how do I tell these people they took my baby from me? But as far as the amount of time that I got to see my child, it was honestly very rare. I probably only saw her for about a month out of each year. I would take trips because obviously I have a life here in Cleveland that I've built. And I built this life so that I could secure a life for me and my children. And that consists of me working, that consists of me going to school, that consists of my own personal relationships, that consists of me networking and different stuff like that to try to build the situation that my kids would need.
So once again, sounds like she's speaking about herself. I had to do this, I had to do that. I'm building a life in Cleveland. Well, how long have you been living in Cleveland, dear? When did you move to Cleveland? Last year, 2 years ago, 5, 10, what? Because as I said, it's not going to take 13 years to get custody of a child, make efforts to get a child. And if the state wasn't involved in removing the child, I'm confused. Because you said you couldn't go back to the hospital. They told you don't come back, you'd be trespassing. I don't know if I believe all this. Were you doing something else after you delivered the baby? Let me ask that. Was there drugs in your system, alcohol, what? Because I'm just trying to understand, a person giving birth, if you were grown, how would they have control over who is around you at the time of birth? You know, you want to show your baby to people, have people visit the hospital. I'm trying to understand, how would that warrant calling what? The doctor, the staff, the police, DHS? I'm confused. I'm confused. Help me understand, because Queen is lost. I'm just trying to understand. What was so bad about Dorothy that this adoptive mother did not want you to show your baby to her, that would warn her to call, I guess, CPS or whoever? Something's missing here, because it always is. Because as I always tell you, pertaining to true crime, everything's about aversion and perception. What I see, you don't see. What I hear, you don't hear. And right now, what I hear, it don't sound right to me. That's my perception of this information. I don't know what happened with her and her baby, but her baby get gone while an infant, the passing the little girl around to different people. It's all weird to me. And that's a question you should be asking as well. What really happened with Tara and this baby? What happened to the godmother? Why she didn't still have her? See, this is bullshit. Because that's the whole point of bullshit. Bullshit begets bullshit. And everybody going to have 1,000 excuses why they're in this predicament pertaining to this kid. Well, I was doing right and I was doing right. So we got a grandmama who failed her, a godmama. Something had to been wrong for her to hand over to grandma. And then we got this lady, the mother, a jealous adoptive mother that turned her in. This shit don't sound right. This something is way off. Somebody tell the truth. I don't know if I believe this Tierra girl or not. Just keeping it real.
For them to be stable here. So
your work-life balance.
Sorry about that brief intermission. And she takes her time when she talks. And usually that's what people do when they're lying. They got to think about what they're going to say.
So I probably saw her for about a month out of each year. I would take time off or off of school and off of work and different stuff, and I would go down there, physically go down there, and I would have to stay. I would have to, also network with my family members in order to secure a place to stay while I was down there, because I never felt comfortable staying in my mother's home, and that was simply because me and my mother, we've never had a great relationship. I can't speak on the relationship that she would have or could have had with Keimani, but I know me and my mother, we never got along. My family members have always said that they felt like my mother was jealous of me. So I didn't stay in her household simply because of that. I didn't want to come.
So here is where she mentions, I guess family members felt like she was jealous of her daughter. Why would you be jealous of your own daughter? As I told you all earlier in this live stream, it has happened. Parents being jealous of their children. Maybe more prevalent with women being jealous of their girl children. Why? Why would you be jealous? She's prettier to you. You don't feel like you're a pretty woman. I know a lot of you are thinking, Queen, don't say it. Please don't say it. Well, I will say it. No, Dorothy, you're not a pretty lady. How about that? You're not a pretty lady. Yep. Queen said it on the live. You're not a pretty lady.
Chaos in the home where my daughter was living. But yeah, whenever Keimani would do something that my mother didn't like, or if my mother asked me to do something and I didn't do it, she would cut off contact for us. She would block contact, whether it was taking the phone that I bought for Keimani from her, or blocking me from her phone and Keimani's phone, telling people to keep a close eye so that Keimani's not sneaking in talking to me, different things like that. The only time I ever was really able to see my child, because there are times when I went down there with plans to see my child, and she made sure that didn't happen. The only time that she actually let me see my kid is when I came with like a full card full of money to put stuff in the house and buy her things or buy Keimani things and fill up the house with food, all that type of stuff, even though I'm not staying there.
Oh.
Wow. Okay, is it true that you had to pay child support to Dorothy also?
So my mother officially got custody. My mother officially got custody the end of August 2024, and I started paying child support from there. When it came time, because I know this was another question, people were asking, like, what took mom so long to show?
So see, this is where this is a problem. Tierra said she's been fighting for years to get custody. How have you been fighting? Because that's where people are going to be confused. You're saying now your mother just got custody of this child August 24. She was 13. Okay. So help us understand. Why didn't you fight to get custody? You say you did, but what did you do? Let me rephrase that. What did you do legally? Because as I said, 13 years is a long time. All you have to do is go to the court. You're going to have to pay paperwork, naturally, drawn up paperwork, but help me understand. That's why I need to know how long you've been living in the place you're in now. Now you're saying If you didn't follow Dorothy's instructions, she would bar contact, take away the girl's phone, so on and so forth. This is just, see, this is what I'm talking about, this ratchet ass bullshit. Because these people are street people. Some people don't like when that terminology is used. I use it a lot because it's the truth. When you deal with street people, these are the problems you get. You deal with street people, you get street people drama. It's always something. Bubba did this. Pookie did this. Somebody went to jail. Somebody violated. Somebody need bond money. Somebody need commissary money. Somebody need you to show up to court. Somebody need you to tell the lawyer something. Somebody need you to tell the judge something. Don't you get it? This is the type of shit you get when you deal with people who don't have their lives together. We're not talking about you walked outside, got hit by a car, now you need to go to the hospital, you got hospital bills. I ain't talking about that type of drama. You found out you got cancer. I ain't talking about that kind of drama. I'm talking about straight gutter trash drama. That's all Dorothy was about. Was the almighty dollar. That's probably why she took her in at the end. Come on with it, Queen. Dorothy just got her last year fully. Well, custody full. I think she said she had 5 years, excuse me. She had 5 years, but I guess on paper last year, if we'd believe Tiara. But I think it's still about the money. Just wanted for the money. Whatever she could get. Food stamps, whatever. Help, aid, whatever. Help with housing, it's all the same. Because everybody knows when you have children, you get more perks from the government. And I believe Dorothy, she's that chick. She don't care about all means necessary. Fuck it. And the fact that I told you she had strangers living in the house, and that came from this interview here that you're listening to. Dorothy's just rank, that's all. She one of them kind, she don't care. She'll pull you from the graveyard if you could got a bit of breath in you to pay something. She's that type of lady. She's a street lady. She don't got no pride. She don't have any pride about herself. See people like her all the time. Dime a dozen.
Another question. People were asking, like, what took mom so long to show up? I had just paid my mom $900 in child support.
Woo, nice amount.
And I had some catching up to do. I'm still, as of now, there's 26 and some change that hasn't been posted because I ran out of money. But I had just bought like $500 worth of clothes and shoes, Stanley cups, jewelry, different stuff like that for my daughter. And then I had spent $900 to put towards her child support. And then I gave my daughter $100, Keimani. I gave her $100 for her birthday. And her dad was the one that drove her down here to me on the 15th. And he was complaining about he hadn't ate all day and his tank was low. So I gave him $60. Here's 20 to go eat for you and Keimani, and then here's 40 for your tank so you can get back home.
How crazy is this? A low rent ass father who's having sex with his own kid, he ain't even got gas money to drive his kid to see the biological mother. Are y'all hearing this? So she's paying a lot in child support, almost $1,000 a month. She owes back money, I'm sure, is what she's saying here, 26 and some change, she said. So I'm assuming that's about what, 26,000? So, or is that 2,600? I don't understand. Either way, she owed money. So I need to know, Darnell, was he put on the books to pay child support? Because it's a two-way street. If it's proven that she's the mother, he's the mother, he should be paying child support. It should be equally split between the two. Okay? It should have been split between the two to pay child support. So what you got to ask yourself, did she ever put on paperwork, birth certificate, that Darnell's even the father bingo card? Because most young women know the game when it comes to getting state funds, welfare, welfare check, you have to claim the father at some point when they ask you about who's the daddy. Might be a year from now, 2, 3 after the baby's born, but you got to tell them something because they're going to want that money. So if you've been getting a welfare check for your babies, the state wants to know who's the daddy. So this is the reason why a lot of men don't want to be put on child support. They'll say, oh, I'll give you what you need. I'll take care of the kid. Just don't put me on child support. Whether they work, don't work. So more than likely, I don't know. Maybe she didn't put Darnell's name on the birth certificate. So let's ask that question. Since everybody's worried about who's the damn daddy. Is Darnell's name on the birth certificate, number one? Did he believe that the child was his child? Did this mother ever tell him he wasn't the father? Because why do we have all this wrangling about him not being a father on the news, which I thought was very inappropriate considering the girl was killed in the way that she was killed? Why are you all talking about stuff that don't got nothing to do with this child's death, murder? Just BS. And the mother, you're part of this nonsense too. So that's why I said I don't know if I can believe anything she says. Because you all the one were putting this nonsense out here, help aiding this nonsense about Darnell not being the father. You could have easily told the news first time it got out. Yes, he is the father of the child. It has been confirmed. So now we got to ask that question. Has it been confirmed in a court of law that Darnell is the father? He's went and gave a DNA swab. It went to the lab. It came back. He's 99.9999999 the father of this child. If he ain't the father, then who's the father? But we hear in this interview, she claims Darnell as the father. If you need verification for the information, Black CEO Media 2.0 is the source.
And then here's 40 for your tank so you can get back home. So I was flat broke when I found out what was going on with Keimani being missing. Not only that, but I had also just spent a gank of money too, because my youngest daughter's birthday was St. Patty's Day, the day before she supposedly went missing. So all of my money was spent. I was rubbing pennies together trying to come up with a way to get up there.
Between everybody in the house.
Sorry about that. So she's crying she was broke, spending for this child, that child. I guess so. So now we got to ask, does she have help, boyfriend, husband, somebody?
Okay. Let me ask you something. What was your conversations like with Keimani? Like the last time you seen her, and like any other time, what would she would say? Like, mommy, like what? Can you give us just a brief summary? Like what?
Honestly, honestly, most of the time that I talked to Keimani, it was just her telling me about like what was going on in her life. Like, oh, I joined the basketball team. I'm getting really good at it. Oh, she came out to me and told me that she thought she was gay. I had a conversation with her about that.
Whoa, horsey, stop right there. So the little girl came out as gay. Oh, Lord of mercy. Lord, I need a drink. So that's why Grandma made that comment on the news. She's a virgin. She don't even like boys. Because Grandma knew that the child, Keimani liked girls. Now, I'm going to say something, and I want you to just bear with me. I don't know how long this man was touching this child inappropriately. But could that have been the final hoorah? He knew she liked girls or was boyish in nature, and he wanted to make a mockery out of her, his own child. You like girls? Oh, hell no. You can't be liking girls. That's wrong. But we already know that touching your child or any other child is wrong too. But you got to think how a sadist thinks. Which some of you are saying, no, Queen, I don't want to get in the head of a sadist. But that's the only way you're going to be able to understand how we are here today. Because it's going to be hard for you to understand and say this. It's common sense. But could it be he was making a mockery out of her? Oh, I'm going to show you why you should like a boy, a man. Let me show you. So say it. I can show you better than I can tell you. So daddy said, I'm going to show you what a man is, what a man got, why you should want a man. Is that where we're going with this? Now that mommy's telling us she came out as a gay person, which we already know she could change her mind anytime. She's still a child. And then we have the grandmother putting this out on the news in a roundabout way. Oh, she's a virgin. She don't like boys, which was very inappropriate to say, considering how she died. She was essayed by her father and then butchered and then cut up. Very disrespectful to even say some shit like that about your own damn grandkid. She didn't even like boys. She was a virgin. Yeah, okay. What does that have to do with how she died? That grandmama, she's a piece of work.
She told me about like the video games that she's been playing, the new friends that she has, things that she's done with her, like different activities that she did with her dad or my mom or whatever. And that's why I'm kind of like, I'm still very much confused to this day as to why she didn't discuss with me what was going on inside that home or wherever the trauma was going on. Because I've always been a person, I keep open lines of communication with my kids. I spent most of my life trying to be better than those that birthed me and those that raised me. You know, I remember the things that I went through, and I never wanted my kids to go through that. I feel like I paid the price so that they wouldn't have to, right? So when it comes to raising my kids, you know, I keep open lines of communication. I'm not the parent that when my kid is talking to me and they ask a question that might not be appropriate for them, I'm not the parent that's like, hey, stay in a child's place. I'm not the parent that's going to tell you, respect your elders if they're not respecting you. I talk to my kids about everything. I always give my kids the utmost support, the utmost love. If my daughter would have came to me and been like, hey, this is happening and I don't feel safe, I would have sat down with her and we would have come up with a plan. Okay. We would have gotten her out of there.
Discover your new Acura.
We would have gotten her out of there. Well, people are going to say that don't make sense because you didn't have her anyway. In 13 years, you made no provisions to get custody. However, it really went. And this is why I keep saying this is just her version. I don't really know what the hell happened with Tara and her kids, Darnell. It's all a big mystery because one thing everyone has to remember, and I keep telling people this, what I tell this person ain't what I told the news, ain't what I told the police. Stay woke. People give one version to police. They give one version to family, friends. They give one version to this other person or organization. People don't tell the same story the same way, okay? I don't know why she does not have her kid, but I know the version she's giving don't sound right about the this adoptive mother being upset that she wanted to show the baby to Dorothy. That just don't sound right because if I'm grown, I can show my baby to whoever I want. I'm in a hospital bed. How much wrong could I be doing in a hospital bed? See, none of this makes any sense. Or was she already out? But that can't be right because she said they told her don't come back to the hospital. So what did she do? Leave the baby at the hospital? I'm confused. This shit don't make no sense. Because it's like they took the baby away from her in the hospital. And then they're telling her don't come back. But then why would she come back to the hospital? Because 9 times out of 10, you don't stay in the hospital no more than 2 days with a kid. 2 to 3 days, gotta think 13 years back. Something that's not right here. My spirit is telling me something is way, way off of this story.
I will say is I see where her teacher came out and said that, and even the mom even said it, said that they put CPS on her. What the teacher, she said twice. And, Dorothy, they came to the house 7 months ago, and I thought that was crazy.
And I wasn't aware of any of that.
Okay, and so you wasn't aware of it, okay. I mean, and it's crazy how that system up there, I think, because people, I think they can sit up here and try to fault you and say this, say that, but no, at the end of the day, she did not do this to Keimani there. Okay, we can sit up here and just, and the mom of this, the mom of that, the mom of that, but, there's no evidence that the mom was there with the dad and them doing any of this awful, and I'm trying to curse, miss that what happened.
Well, Tiara may not have been there for any of abuse, physical, mental, sexual, but the point is she's the start of this story. See, this is what happens with a lot of people. This is just like Cal City and that Rondine BS. Nobody wants to start at the beginning of the story. Everybody wants to jump in the middle and at the end. You can't start at the middle and the end because that's not how a story works. The story has a beginning, which is this woman here. She got pregnant with this child. Don't know what she was going through, how she was living, where she was living. But her child got taken from her, obviously, as an infant at the hospital, the way it's sounding. Because this is her version. I don't really quite understand what she said in this interview. Because it doesn't even make sense to me. That somebody's going to call on you because you want to show your baby to your biological mother. Why would the state come remove your kid? That just don't sound right to me. And especially if you're grown, why would the state or anybody have proof that a child should be removed from your care because your biological mother came to the hospital to see a newborn? You're going to have to have more than that to go before a judge. Just don't make no fucking sense. There's something else going on here. Right. When it don't make sense, it's a lie. Exactly. Because it don't make sense. Somebody's going to go call DHS to say, I let my biological mother see my baby and I'm grown. I just want you to think about that now. I'm a grown woman who just gave birth. So that means nobody can tell me what to do about mine. And somebody going to call DHS and say, oh, she's allowing her mother to see the baby. So you had to say something crazy about the mother for these people to warrant to even come to the hospital. This is bullshit. This don't sound right. But see, this is what people don't understand. When people know that you're never going to get to the truth and you aren't going to get to see the CPS records and see what really was said and done by the doctor, the lawyer, the butcher, the baker, I'll tell you anything. And that's what I think we have here. This don't make no sense. People like this can't just tell how it was because it make them look bad. All of them are lining up. And yes, I believe that too, Bumblebee. I believe that too. And this guy's trying to say, well, people are talking bad about the mother. We already know she possibly wasn't up there because she lived in a whole different city. So see, this is just like the old bullshit with Ron Dean and the Cal City boys. You come run up because you hear a story on the news that your children are missing that you ain't took care of, ain't tried to raise, you ain't raised your other damn kids. Nobody in the world knew about that. The news didn't talk about it. Court TV didn't talk about it because didn't nobody tell Court TV, hey, you putting this lady up on your damn show, but she got other kids that she gave birth to. She don't take care of them either. Why she's sitting up there huffing and puffing talking to Vinnie Politan. This is why I said Vinnie Politan, Court TV, Law and Crime, all of you all need to do your homework before you put these people up on your TV show. News Nation, all of y'all. Y'all rush to put these people on your damn show and you ain't vetted these people. You just hear a horrible story of somebody being abused or dead and then here come a biological mother and that's my child. But you need to be asking that person, well, why you don't have your kid in the first place? That's what you should be asking. Because what you fail to realize is one thing begets another. These children were doomed. That's why they're in the position that they're in. That's why they're dead. They're dead because nobody cared. And they're going from house to house, house to house, house to house, house to house. Hello, Danielle. We know what Darnell did to her was wrong. We know the grandmother did abuse her. And other people probably abused her too. But the point is she had a start. And wherever that was, it wasn't good either for us to be where we are today. You got to own that shit. It didn't just start with Darnell and the grandmother. She had a fucking mama. So let's call a spade a spade. I get sick of people don't want to own. Nobody wants to start at the beginning of the story. You just want to jump in the middle and be, oh, well, he did this and she did this. They did it. They all did it. How about that? Mama, Darnell, grandmama, godmama, whoever else wants to jump in the pot. Everybody failed her. And now everybody want to get on the news and cry and wipe their eyes and, oh, I loved her and she was a good kid and they're not telling the truth about how she was. And it's too late for all that now. It's too late. She is dead. She was mutilated. What is the point now to tell us how she was and this person lying and they ain't telling the truth? Man, miss me with all this. It's stupid.
I'm doing any of this awful, and I'm trying not to curse. That's what happened to Keimani at the end of the day.
I was going to say I'm far from perfect. There's definitely times where I've called multiple of my friends, including Chaz, and I'm like, I feel like I'm failing my kids just because I feel like I'm not doing enough, or I
5 years.
My shortfalls. We all do. I'm not perfect by far. I never proclaim to be, but I do my best.
Okay.
Can I interject real quick?
Come on in, Jay. Okay.
I'm going to stop right here because I don't want to play all this. You feel free to go check it out on Mr. Black CEO Media 2.0. Somebody in the chat said she hadn't seen her in 5 years until the weekend before she was killed. So this must be the weekend she's talking about here, giving up money and spending money. Because she said she spent money on this child the day before St. Patrick's Day, and then she spent some money on her. She gave her $100 and gave, I don't know. I'm to the point. That's why I don't like talking about these kind of stories, because I don't want this shit in my head. I'm on a certain type of journey, and it does not include this type of garbage. You understand what I'm saying? I don't like this garbage in my head. I don't like it before I go to sleep. I don't want to think about it when I wake up. Because I've already been on the road talking about a case like this many years ago. And I caught pure hell from different people. But I didn't care. I stand on everything I said about the Cal City case, the biological mother. And I'm still saying the same thing about her. I still say the same about the cupcake case in Alabama and that trifling ass mama and baby daddy. You get these type of stories because the people who are raising the children are fucked up. That's what people don't seem to understand. And people just refuse to want to accept that. You want to talk about everybody else? Yeah, we know they got killed by this person or kidnapped by this person or murdered by this person, but the kids had a start. The kids are living with people who don't give a fuck about them. Okay? You leave a 3-year-old out in the projects all day to play and they're wetting herself, and then they just so happen to get kidnapped by a guy and a girl who on drugs, and they drugged the little girl, sexually assaulted her, then suffocated and murdered and throw in a dumpster. But the mother, she shouldn't get blamed for that. She didn't do it. Well, your child was out all fucking day. Where were you? What you mean the mother, she ain't supposed to take no responsibility for letting a child play out all day? Then she got the nerve to get on the news and say, I still see other kids walking to school by themselves. Well, who cares? It ain't your kid. You don't need to be worried about nobody else's kid. You worry about the ones you got. Many people told me your child was out in the projects all day and evening, peeing on herself and all of that. So that means nobody was watching her or the other children. So you need to take responsibility. Okay? Okay, you said she said in this interview, okay, yeah, I fell asleep on some of it, Bumbleweed. But the point is, every story has a start, just like your life. You didn't wake up at 32. You didn't come out of a cabbage patch at 45, 16 years of age. You were carried in your mother's womb for 9 months or less, and she gave birth to you. She either cared for you, took care of you, or she didn't, or she passed the baton to somebody else. That's your start. You did not fall out of the sky. You didn't come here on Earth in a drone or a space shuttle. So people need to understand the reason why we're talking about true crime pertaining to children is for the obvious reason. They didn't have proper upbringings. And so one thing begets another. They go from Peter, Paul, Dick, Susie, Mary until death. Or, as the case in Connecticut, a rescue of setting up bedroom on fire. Extreme measures in order to get freedom, indeed. But I blame everybody. I'm not that type of person where I just sit and say, well, it's just the killer's fault. No. It's not to say he wasn't going to kill another kid. He possibly was. But that's what I tell you. You know, hey, you don't hand somebody the gun or knife to kill you, do you? Although I know she's a child, she can't control a grown-up. She can't fight off a grown man. No child could. But I'm just saying she had a start. And everybody needs to own their part that they didn't do right by Keimani. That's my point. You don't get a free pass because you abused your kid and then the kid got adopted or put in foster care and then 5-6 years later they were found beat up, dead, murdered, abused, and you get to throw your hands up and say, well, it wasn't me, I didn't do it. No, you didn't do that, but you did some other shit for your child to get gone in the first damn place out your custody. So you the start of the bullshit. You got to own your part. You don't get a free pass. And I get it. It's up to God to decide, forgiving you, not forgiving you. It's up to you also to try to redeem yourself. That's a job that's not for me and others. But people are going to judge you. That's just what we do. We're human beings. And that's right. We're not perfect. None of us are perfect. But if you abuse your child and got your child taken out of your custody, you to me ain't no different than the person that molested them and murdered them. How you different? So a lot of you got your backwards thinking. Well, they didn't kill him. Oh, but if you beat your kid and starve your kid, you get a pass because the kid went on the list of what somebody else that killed them. Help me understand how that makes sense. The state takes your kid because you abuse your child. You let a child molester come rape your child, molest your child. You didn't want to do nothing about it. You didn't want to get rid of the child molester. Whatever the situation is, you never fought to get your kid back. And then later down the road, your kid is dead and murdered. And then you come crying to the news saying, I can't believe this. I didn't do it, though. Oh, but you did abuse your kid. That's why your kid wasn't with you. But we're supposed to forget about all that. No, I'm blaming everybody. Because had your child had a good start, we wouldn't be looking at the story on the news. Come on now. Because let me tell you something. Old habits die hard. Whatever happened with Keimani and this woman at birth, this lady better pray she don't end up in that situation again. Because now all eyes are going to be on you now with the children that you have. Oh, hell yeah. Anything you do, say, post, people going to be watching you. So your life, sorry about that. Your life ain't going to be that great. Because now you got to watch everything you do and say. The people you hang around, the company you keep, you can't go hang with the dope boy. You can't be hanging with people that sell drugs. You can't hang with people that get drunk and turned up, smoke weed. You think somebody ain't gonna go tell it? Oh yeah, she got that boyfriend. He smoked marijuana. He sell drugs. He sell fentanyl. Hell yeah, they gonna go run and tell it. You got a whole new problem, baby. Because you done put yourself out there now because you done showed your face on TV. And that other lady, the girlfriend, they're going to be investigating her too. Even though she turned Darnell in, but they now got to look at her other child or children to see if they've been touched by him. See, big wheels keep on turning. So see, there's not no end to this saga because Keimani is dead. Everybody better wake up. The wheels are just now turning now. Because what did I just say? One thing begets another. So everybody going to be under a fine microscope due to this child being murdered. Everybody gonna be looked at. Everything they've done, said. The company they kept. How they living. As they should. His brother got a girl pregnant and apparently she is still missing. She tells that in this interview too, I think. Oh my God. Wow. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I didn't finish it this morning because I had fell asleep. I couldn't listen to all that. That's just not something you need to have, you know what I'm saying, on your spirit. You're laying down, going to sleep. I don't need to hear all this nonsense. And I get to the point where I get frustrated. I don't want to keep listening to this old garbage because I just feel like it's just garbage. When you start talking about a child being raped and her neck punctured, I want you to think about that. Because I don't want to get graphic, but it needs to be said. He stabbed her in the neck more than once. So I want you to think about that. A child minding her business in her house and her father's coming over there. And if he was essaying her, I'd like to know why she opened the door. I would not have let him in. I would not have let him in. And I would have told somebody, hey, he's coming over here. He's touching me. He's making advances towards me. I don't like it. But he got in that house some type of way. They didn't say that it was broken in. The door wasn't Jimmy. So that means the little girl let him in. So she let her own perpetrator and killer in. I want you to think about that. And he stabbed this girl in the neck. And then he disposed of her body and cut off her hands. And they said her head was damn near off her neck, decapitated. So this is serious. This is serious business. And then he has a child with that girlfriend. So now you got to ask if he's been fondling that child, raping that child. Has he raped other children? Lord have mercy. What's going to become of this lady, Tara and her kids, Miss Dorothy? Will the state find fault with Dorothy in any type of form or fashion? Will the state of Ohio Department of Human Services do a reboot and do a 360 of their department and how they handle child abuse allegations? Because all state departments need to do a 360, in my opinion. You can no longer just allow children to stay in houses because there's a bed with a cover and food in the refrigerator and the rooms look clean, or it's a little bit messy. No, honey, you got to go deep in the belly of the beast. You got to go talk to people. You got to talk to friends, neighbors. You got to talk to the teachers, the principals. You got to go to the doctor to see when the last time they went to the doctor. What did they go for? All hospital visits. And your own records to see if you've been out there to this house before or any other locations or jurisdictions. You ask them everywhere that they've lived. And then you go call those same departments and hospitals to see what records they have pertaining to the parent, guardian. And that's how you get to the bottom of a story and get to the truth. Yes. Yeah. And he's a fire starter. As I learned in some other YouTubers' videos, I told you all at the beginning of this live, he has set a building on fire before. Disorderly conduct, didn't do a lot of time. He's done less than 6 months or so for all these different crimes. So obviously, the legal system believes he's mentally inept, whatever the hell that means, because he keeps getting less time for all these offenses. So maybe he's developmentally delayed, Darnell, but he ain't that delayed because he knows how to rape kids and he knows how to hide evidence. So to me, ain't nothing wrong with him. And I'm sure this woman is now thinking, I made a grave mistake by getting hooked up with this man, Darnell. I made a baby with him. I didn't keep the baby, didn't raise the baby, didn't fight for the baby, because I don't think she fought for the baby like she's saying. Because you're talking about 13 years later. No way you're still groveling with somebody 13 years later about no kid. I just can't see it. It's too winded. It takes too long. And it's easy to lose hope. There's more to this story. Somebody needs to bring a receipt because there's more to this story. But I'm sure she's thinking about all her choices she has made in life. The choices she made choosing Darnell. probably saw signs he wasn't right. They were young, whatever. And as somebody said on their YouTube channel, did this woman know that Darnell had a past, had a criminal record background? Did all these other women who were taking care of Keimani know that he had a criminal record? And when did he start coming around the kid? See, all that's relevant too. Get to the bottom of how long this essay has been going on. Was this a one-time event, or he had been raping the little girl? Either way, it's nasty because of what he did to her, how he killed her, and how he disposed of her body. It's just vicious. And he wanted to make sure she was not identified. That's what's even worse. Besides the crime itself, the rape and stabbing her in the neck, you cut her hands off. Because you wanted to make sure they couldn't identify her. Now, I don't know if her hands were found at the scene or not. But usually when people are dismembered, it's because the perpetrator does not want the person to be identified. That's common sense. You're a nasty motherfucker. And I pray you heal up real fine in that hospital. And then they can put the handcuffs on you, which I'm sure they're on you anyway, but formally put them on you when you walk out. And walk you out to the nearest jail. Because that's where you deserve to be for the meanwhile. But I think like in this state here where I live in Tennessee, any type of improprieties toward a child the state can seek the death penalty. Cruel, unusual punishment against a kid. Yep, it's the same thing. You don't want to die, but you don't mind killing a kid. Well, you should be put to death. And I think that should happen in Ohio. I don't know if they have the death penalty or not, but he needs to go get a needle to the neck, arm. It's all the same to me. Gas chamber, I don't care. Hell, firing squad. Because there was no reason for him to have killed that kid. And frankly, it wouldn't matter if it was a grown-up. Can I just go out here and murder people? Chop them up, cut them up, and then throw them in a building and set the building on fire. As if they were nothing. She wasn't thinking about that girl, in my opinion. No, I don't think she was. 13 years now. Because that's a long time to be out of sight from anybody. I don't care who it is, child or not. It's not saying a person don't think about their child, even if they gave a child up for adoption. But to say you fought, I don't believe that. No, I don't believe that. I don't believe she fought for 13 years. Because how are you going to fight when you already said you only saw her monthly? So in all the time of 13 years, you've had ample enough time to go to the court and file a petition and say, I need to see a judge. I want custody of my kid. And they would have given her a hearing. Because we've heard with DHS offices that you are granted an attorney in seeking custodial rights and fighting the state or whomever about your kid. So she shouldn't have had no problem getting custody of her kid. If the child was taken from the hospital, however it went, all she had to do was march her little happy ass right on down to the DHS office and tell them I'm seeking custody of my child. That's why I know it's more to the story, because it don't even sound right to me. Why would somebody tell you not to come back to the hospital? That just something about that just don't make. That sounds like maybe your baby was sick and you left and didn't go back like Ryan Dean did. When her last baby was ill and had lung issues, breathing trouble, and he was in a NICU unit for 3 weeks, she never visited her child one time. But we didn't tell Vinnie Politan that, did we? Oh yeah, Vinnie Politan. My first, the last two babies, the first one got taken because his femur broke and nobody would admit they broke my baby's leg. So the state took my kid. And then a year later, I gave birth to that last one. And he had breathing troubles because I like to smoke and chief and drink. And I didn't fight for that one either. You didn't tell that to court TV. I believe they were with her because they were done the way her throat was. Bumblebee, what are you saying? They who? Who are they? Who are you speaking of? Then she said he's got a couple of more kids. Who are you speaking of that was with the girl? Who are they? I don't understand what you're saying. Well, I guess you're not going to respond. I'm trying to understand your last comment. Who are they? They were done the same way. I don't understand who you're talking about. Who else got their throat cut? Who are you speaking of? Well, I've been on almost 2 hours. That's the gist of my commentary. I feel like the grandmother was not a good role model. I don't believe this Tierra was a good role model for whatever reason. I don't believe she fought for 13 years for her kid. I don't know when Darnell came into the picture, if he's been in the picture the whole time. But I know that he also failed the child. His godmother failed the child, and whomever else had knowledge that the grandmother was beating and abusing the kid. And this is just another sad tale of DHS failing a child, parents, relatives failing a child. It's a vicious cycle. Because all these people are intertwined in the murder of this kid. The hands. You said the hands were done the way her throat was. So her hands were stabbed? Well, why would he be stabbing her hands? This shit is crazy. Well, I haven't read any of that about the hands when I read something earlier. But she got her neck stabbed before any cutting of the hands. That's just a vicious way to go. Why not use strangulation or suffocation? Why are you stabbing someone in her neck? I mean, it's wrong to kill a person, period. But I just thought that was so vicious. They said she had, cut wounds in her neck. So I'm sitting here thinking that was the manner of death. This is serious. It's vicious and it's serious. Weren't severed straight off. They were stabbed off her hands. Okay, stabbed off. Because he didn't have no way of cutting them off. And see, I thought about that too. What did he use to, damn near cut her throat? But maybe the stabbing of her neck, he stabbed so deep and much, it was like her head was coming off her neck. And then that don't make no sense either. You stabbing the hands. I figured he was just trying to cut the hands off, so she couldn't be identified. I still believe that's why he did it. He just didn't have a sharp tool, obviously. Because that's what I was thinking. Well, what type of tool could he have gotten? And get caught buying a tool, to cut her hands off, a saw or whatever. This is all just, oh Lord, I can't. This is horrible. Because see, the more questions you ask, it's a conversation you shouldn't even be having with yourself or anybody. Why did he do this? Why did he do this? Because he didn't have no business touching that girl in the first damn place. Touching her at all. Period. I think perhaps she fought back. Maybe she told him, I want to tell. Or she told him, I don't want to do this. And he got mad and pulled out a knife or something and started stabbing her. Jesus Christ. And when he put her in the back of that SUV, he hid that mat because there's probably blood on it. Probably blood in the truck too. Probably did a shabby job trying to clean it out. This is horrible. This is absolutely horrible. For a child to be treated this way by their own parent. And we just live in a vicious world. Whether you're a child, an adult, you're disabled, We just live in a world where people just don't care about each other. And that's why I tell you, you have to be careful how you treat people, because you know you can get somebody out here that'll do something to you because of something you've done. Okay? They think you've done something. You said something out of the way. You did something, and we know you're not supposed to just, react because somebody said something you didn't like, did something. But we have people like that. They don't care. You did something to them, their friend, their family. They want revenge. Hell yeah, they'll come after you. So you have to know your place, because I'm seeing every day, especially doing this, what I do up here, talking about different scenarios and crimes. You don't have to do anything to a person to end up hurt or dead. And you definitely can do something to a person and they'll come back and stab you up, shoot you up. Because some people feel like, hey, I have a score to settle. Now, as I said, there's no reason to be killing a kid. But we have sick people out here who don't care. And Darnell is that person. Dorothy is also that person. And I don't have too much good to say about the mother at this point either. That's just my personal opinion. I don't think she's being truthful about the information she's spinning up here on YouTube. And that's one reason some of us are judgmental about people who come to YouTube to talk. This is an easier platform to come spin lies. If you've noticed that with the Sebastian case, Summer Wells case, I could tell you stuff that I know ain't the version I told the cops. I keep trying to tell people that. You ain't gonna never know the truth of what a person has told law enforcement about a missing kid, abused kid. And they come to YouTube because this is an easier audience to spin lies and shit. They know you ain't gonna find out nothing until court time. What was said, what was done, and may still not get all of the truth about a person in their life. So you get up here on YouTube, you hide behind a computer screen and a phone, you can say any damn thing. Oh yeah, I don't know why they took my kid. I'm a good person. I was following the rules and da-da-da-da-da. And 13 years later, you're only seeing the kid once a month, and you're just basically a cash cow for Dorothy, because Dorothy don't want to have to pull out no money out of her damn pocket. That's all Tierra was to Dorothy, a cash cow. I'm going to make you pay for this kid. I ain't trying to spend all my damn money on her. Dorothy's a hustler. That's all she is. A little black dust ass bird, a little dusty ass hustler. That's all Dorothy is. I read her as soon as I saw her talking. I said, this ain't nothing but a little dirty mutt. A little dirty lying mutt. And when you watch her talk, as I said before, turn the volume off and then watch the interview. You could tell a lot by watching her demeanor without the volume on the video, because I did it earlier. And I said, oh yeah, this is a demon seed. This woman was just using that baby for money. She didn't care nothing about her. That's why she was beating her up, whether the girl was wayward or not. If it was so bad the child wouldn't mind, then you should have turned her over to the state or called your daughter to come get her. Checkmates. I'm woke. See, this is why I always tell people, let them talk, they'll tell on themselves. If you want to portray the girl as wayward, she was a troublemaker, she was staying in trouble, well, then you should have had no problem with one calling Darnell. Come get your daughter, please. Call Tierra. Come get your daughter, please. Or call DHS. Could you come pick up this kid, please? She's unruly. I can't do anything with her. Bingo card. I'm not a fool. Dorothy's a hustler, and she only used that kid to get whatever funds, welfare, check, food stamps she could get. That's why she had other people living in her house, bums off the street, and charging them rent money. Dorothy ain't shit. And that's my public opinion. Okay. All right. The same network, the same guy, the black CEO. Yeah. Everybody was just everybody was a cash cow. The system, the mother, whatever Darnell could bring, not bring. Everybody was manipulating each other. That's what I'm seeing with these people. Everybody was using each other for their own selfish reasons. He's essaying a kid for his own sexual gratification. Dorothy's using the mom to help pay for stuff because she ain't raising her, ain't, keeping her. She's using the system to get money, welfare, whatever for the kid, probably housing, voucher. Just a dirty, vicious cycle. Very reason why Dorothy didn't raise her own damn kids, because there's something wrong with Dorothy. And I also found it interesting that interview with this black CEO. I could have sworn she said, "Oh yeah, when that mother had turned on her, that adopted mother, that then Dorothy turned on her too, saying stuff," which didn't make no sense because Dorothy was the reason that she allegedly called on you about the baby, called the state about the baby. See, something ain't right. I don't know what the hell's going on. Something ain't right. Why would Dorothy turn on you when she's the reason that the adoptive mother got an attitude? Because she didn't want you, Dorothy, to see the newborn. There's something not right. That's why those interviews were very informative. The news interviews, and now this mother running the YouTube, running her mouth, coinciding some of the things that Dorothy said about the girl being gay. It's a hot butter mess. And in the end, it's what I've said about all the cases pertaining to children and neglected abuse. They just didn't have a chance. They were doomed, sadly. Maybe had they gotten in the right hands, they would have blossomed, turned into good, decent humans. And then the flip side is the kids can get in good homes, foster care, adoptive families, and still turn out wayward. You just don't know. Like, share, subscribe, drop your comments below this video. Take the polls on my community page. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $Big Angie 129 Cash App. Feel free to follow the Queen on IG, BigSexy.71. Prayers for any child out here being abused and neglected. SA, please go tell somebody, preferably the police. Do not tell another human being, because some people are wayward. They'll go right back and tell the person who's the perpetrator, putting your life at risk. Go to the police department. Call 911 from your cell phone. Use somebody's cell phone and tell them you're being abused. And I always say that too about calling about cases. Don't call DHS or file reports with DHS. Call the police. Because, see, the police can come to the door and then they can see what they need to see because they're coming unannounced. Have mercy. I would say prayers to the family, but I don't know who I would be sending these prayers to, considering what I've seen thus far. And I'm not trying to judge everybody that's related to Keimani, but Keimani, excuse me. I'm thinking of the other crazy girl, Lord of mercy, excuse me. Keimani, I just don't know who to send prayers to at the moment, because I don't know these people. And like I said, I'm not trying to say that everybody's related to this kid is that they're bad people. There might be a few good folks down the road, but I'm just sending prayers to the universe for all children, that they don't have to end up like this. And I say this message to young people, young men, if you don't want to be a father, don't have sex unprotected. Same for the girls. You don't want to be a mother yet. You don't have your life together. You're not ready. You don't need to have unprotected sex. Wear a condom. Ask the guy to wear a condom, or you get birth control. Do something. They have condoms for women if you didn't know. My advice to you is to get them free. And you better go to the health department now and get all you can, because with this certain person in the office, everything's going to be cut probably won't even be able to get birth control or free condoms anymore from the health department. So you better get all the damn condoms you can for free. So you don't have to end up being a news story and a YouTube video. That's my commentary. Hello, how you doing? You came late, baby. Thank you all for your time. Oh, Lord have mercy. I don't know what's next, but this is a bad story. I mean, bad in the worst type of way. This story is foul. You know how foul this story is? This is just as foul as the Soto case down in Florida. They're neck to neck. That's why I stopped talking about that case last summer, because I couldn't take it. Because I cannot just sit and wrap my mind around no grown man penetrating no kid. Hell no. And that Stern guy, he needs to be burnt at the stake too. Put them both together, him and Darnell. I would say something, but I don't want to get in trouble. But let's just say, oh, Lordy. They don't need their parts. They don't need to be in use anymore. That's my commentary, everybody. Thank you for listening to the Vault XL. Have a wonderful Sunday.